Hi guys, Foxtrot here. Today I've got a first for you from my channel, and that is a review of an aircraft that has kindly been provided for me by flightsim.com. What you're looking at now is the E190-195 by Virtualcol. This specifically is the E195. What you may remember is earlier on Virtualcol came out with the E170-175 for the sim. There are a couple of differences, main ones being the price. The E190-195 is actually cheaper than the E170 and E175. This aircraft sitting at around £13, 14 pence, or $16.49, depending where you get it from. As I say, this is available on flightsim.com, and this is the copy that I've been provided by for review today. Now, other than the price, differences being the 190 and 195 are a little bit longer. 190 is obviously a tiny bit shorter than the E195. E195 can carry 4 more passengers than the 190 can. But I'm excited to have a look at this, so I hope you guys enjoy this review. With this aircraft now then, you're looking at it in ultra settings on Microsoft Flight Sim. My system specs can be seen either in the review or in my channel as well. What you see here is what you get. This is a cheap add-on. Okay, so currently on flightsim.com it's going for $16.49, and that's around £13.14 in sterling there. Okay, so it is a cheap add-on. So you can imagine, say you pretty much get what you pay for, but I'm quite pleasantly surprised by this. The model isn't too bad from the outer. Okay, yes, we've got a few issues like the engines being a bit blocky there, not so smooth around, but the body itself looks okay. And as we move around to the rear, you can see it's not a bad looking aircraft from the outside. Okay, let's have a little closer look at the external model in the drone view. This livery you're looking at is provided with the E195. It's the KLM City Hopper livery. The E190 comes with 36 real-world liveries, and the E195 comes with 9 real-world liveries. They're not the highest quality, as you can see, not getting the 4K that we're starting to see more and more on Microsoft Flight Sim, and 8K in some cases. But I'm sure over time, as the third-party livery creators get to work, these liveries will improve. These are the stock ones provided by Virtualcol. So starting at the front then, we'll have a look at the nose and the windscreen. So the nose itself, yeah, you've got a couple of antennas and tubes on there, but everything else is pretty much painted on. All the sides and rivets. The windscreen, again, bit of perspex looking glass, and then yeah, painted frame there, rivets all painted. It's not the nicest to look at there, let's be honest. The doors then, they is peer painted on, but this door actually does open up. Using the pushback helper here, I can open the forward door, and you can see inside. Now, funnily enough, that handle did move, but it looks painted and flat, so it's a bit strange to see that, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see if the other door opens with catering. No, that's fine, it'll be rear. Close that door. Okay, going down to the nose wheel then, the landing gear at the front here. Yeah, it looks alright, to be honest. This front one does have a bit of detail on it. Again, the lights look a bit painted, but when they're on later, I'm sure it'll look pretty nice. Quite a bit of detail to the landing gear compared to everything else, I must say. And if we go down and look at the actual wheel itself, yeah, it's a bit blocky, it's a bit polygony, loads of sharp edges on there, but hey, it's been cheap and cheerful so far. Okay, moving on then. So looking at the fuselage itself, obviously we've got the windows, and again, cheap plastic looking perspex with a non-existent frame that seems to be just part of the livery, which might be a Might be an issue for any livery creators. They may have to do that themselves. I'm not too sure. Okay, going down then, we've got a light here on the side for the wing light, and then to the actual wing itself, again, you've got these sharp sort of corners on the wing. Not a nice smooth surface, but never mind. As we move along, we've got the engine, very blocky, as you can see, not round at all, big polygon. From a distance, you wouldn't know that. The further away you get from this aircraft, the better it looks. No, but hey, we'll see, we'll see. Model isn't everything. Okay, moving along the wing then. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. You know, we've definitely had worse payware available for model wise. Moving to the fins then. I'm not sure if there was an improvement from the E170 and 175, but they look okay. They're basic. They look alright. You are getting what you pay for with this aircraft. It is a basic aircraft, and it is a very cheap add-on. Okay, onto the tailplane itself then. So you can see there you've got the paint on for the elevation trim. Now that does actually work. The tailplanes move up and down, which I didn't expect, to be honest, but we'll look at that later. Onto the tail itself then. Again, quite a blocky look to it, not so smooth looking, but it does the job. And then got the APU at the rear, which actually appears to be a circle. So they managed it with the APU, but not with the main engines. Yeah, the APU is effective. It's better than some APUs I've seen, which are pretty much just painted on, although everything else seems to be painted on. But hey. Right, so I did notice with this door here, this isn't the cargo door, but if you select cargo, this door opens, and if you have a look inside, you can just see straight through that thing. So obviously that probably needs correcting in there. The cargo door itself does open when you select baggage, so let's do that. And yeah, there's a little baggage hold in there, you know, not much to it. Most developers don't really do anything with that, so we'll get rid of baggage, close that up. Okay, other wing and engine exactly the same, no point going over that. We'll go to the main landing gear then. Again, a bit more detail than I expected considering everything else. Still pretty blocky. Let's have a look inside there. Yeah, it's not bad, it's painted on. Now there we go, we've got a sort of texture missing there where we can see all the way through. We can see sky. That should be wing, I suppose. I'm not really sure what I can see there, but it's not what it's supposed to be. So again, that probably needs fixed. There it is. You see that? There's just a hole there. Probably do need to sort that out, but whether they will or not, I'm not too sure. Everything else underneath, pretty much standard. Livery's looking pretty dirty. It almost looks like this thing's been landing on its belly. Could probably do with a bit of a clean up, to be honest. Okay, but that's pretty much it for the outer model. Obviously on top we've got the various antennas and fins, and they're very basic. Look at that, very basic indeed. Not round, blocky, but they do the job, you know. As much as we do like to look at the planes on the outside, you ain't going to fly them from the outside the whole time. So, you know, you're looking at a $16 aircraft here, and yeah, it's pretty much on par with what I was expecting. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the external. We'll move to the internals now, and we'll come back later, probably for the flight surfaces. Okay then, inside the cockpit here, you can see it's very basic, looking very much like an import, which, you know, this almost makes it look like the simulator is 10 plus years old, not Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. But it does the job, you know, it's got what you need. Most of the buttons and switches are pressable, believe it or not. They do have a bit of depth to them, they're not all painted on like the exterior. Some of it does look painted on like the screens, but then as you get closer you can see there is a bit of 3D to them, although very basic. Same with the buttons on the FMS, they look flat, but then from the side you can see they are actual buttons that you can press. I won't go through pressing the buttons just yet because I do want to draw your attention to the sounds when we do that, so we'll do that in a bit. But this is the interior, very basic, very flat looking. You can see the glass as well. I'm not a big fan of the glass. It's got a smoky front to it, makes it look very plasticky. Not very nice at all. Having a look round to the rear then, the breaker panel, that is painted on. No depth to that. And then you can see from the rear of the cockpit here. It's interesting that all the screens have just gone off, because that is how the aircraft starts, is with those screens turned on, and then over time I suppose they go off like they just have done. I've not pressed anything there for that to happen, they just done that themselves, but this is how the aircraft should start, cold and dark, but with everything turned on just before is how it was starting from the world map, which is a strange one really. Little video screen in the middle, that's painted on, that is just a camera system, you know, to see who's behind the cockpit door. Yeah, but we'll come back to the cockpit at some point for sounds. Right now we're going to go through this door here and into the cabin. As we said before, the main passenger door does open. See that from the interior. It doesn't look nice from there, but you can look out onto the aircraft there as long as you've set up your camera settings to do so. Looking back to the cockpit and down, I can see loads of gaps in the texture here, so there's stuff missing everywhere, which is what it is. I'm not sure what I'm looking at down there. That's, I guess, the wheel bay. Okay, right, we'll go back into the cabin. Okay, the cabin has been done, which is nice. Not a lot of aircraft do this. So yeah, you can go all the way to the back. Texture seems to change on the carpet halfway across. You've now got a white line along it. But yeah, it's long enough. All the seats are in. Emergency exits aren't painted on. Nothing else is there. There's a hole in the back here that someone can fall through. That's very dangerous. Or maybe it's just glass. You can see the cargo bay. And then I can see that these rear seats are actually higher than the others as well. Interesting. Okay, so if you look through the window, you're looking for those window views. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to zoom right in to get a window view that doesn't look like you're staring into nothing, because part of it's missing there. But yeah, never mind. Right, let's go back into that cockpit then, and we'll have a look at the startup process to allow you to hear some of these sounds next. Alright, so I'm going to start up the aircraft mainly so you can hear the sounds. This is by no means the correct way to start this aircraft. It's just going to be a quick start to get the sounds available for you to hear. So I'll draw attention to the sounds of the buttons first of all, and the switches. It's all very sort of monotony, blocky, not very good sounding, but you'll hear it as we go. First thing you'll hear is the electrics power up, and then we'll go through the APU engine start and all the other main sounds for while we're on the ground here. So starting a bit of electrics, it's straight on there, and then we'll go into APU start. We've got to wait for this to say available. Once it's available, we'll get it started up. So you can see it says APU on, and that's powering up there. APU doesn't sound too bad. From the inside. Okay, APU gen's on. Alright, happy days. You could hear those buttons there, very poppy static sound. Let's just... You can hear that popping sound. That's pretty much all for all of it. Very strange sound. I'm sure there'll be a third-party developer bringing out a sound file soon if they've not done so already. Lights don't sound too bad, I suppose. Windshield works. Very fast though. Whoa! The sound on that as well. Oh. Just turned off the APU there. Let's get that going again. The windscreen wiper was confusing me. No sound with the movement of the flight surface there. APU is coming up again. Okay, let's have a little listen to sort of no sound. Ah, there we go. So there is like a one-click sound there. Very basic sound to that. Okay, APU's running. Let's get the engine started, and you can listen to this thing. So ignition to auto, engine to start. APU bleed needs to be on. As I say, this isn't the right way to start this aircraft. Just doing it for the sound here, nice and quickly. Okay, and what you probably hear is that engine's very quiet compared to the little dinging sound that the APU's making. We'll just head outside. Sounds not too bad from the outer here. Let's get to the APU. It's a very generic sort of one sound thing. Can't tell where that sound's really coming from. Very flat. Outside it doesn't sound too bad. Inside it's very much just a low hum, and that beeping of the APU is very annoying. Right, ignition to auto, engine to start, engine 2 coming up now. Let's hear from inside the cabin, see if there's any different. No, it's not really any louder. And that beeping of the APU can be heard throughout. I'm not too sure what that is. Okay, I'm going to go APU off now. That beeping should stop. You see, the APU is louder than the actual engines. It's almost sounding like the plane was going to power off then when the APU got turned off. Okay, let's just have a listen to the speed brake then. No sound from inside. No, not much there at all. Alright, the flaps though. This is where it gets interesting. Just listen to this. Very loud. You can hear the flaps just as loud on the outside as you can on the inside. See those flight surfaces moving though? Such a loud, offensive noise. I'd probably expect that if I was sat on the wing maybe, but from all angles of this plane it's as loud as that. You see what I mean? There's just no depth to the sound, they're just flat. They probably could have done a better job on that. Okay, little look at the flight surfaces then on the outside while we've got the engine running. Turn that down then. Okay, so ailerons first. Yeah, bit of movement there. That's what we want. Going on to the rudder then. Very sharp movement. Immediate left and right, and that's the same with the nose wheel as well. Very quick to turn on the ground. Elevator then. Again, pretty immediate. This thing does fly the way it looks like it's going to on the ground. It is absolutely all over when you're hand flying this thing. So the speed brakes then. Again, a flat surface underneath is painted on, no texture to that at all other than the brackets. You know, they could have been done separate, but they've done them as one whole piece. On the angles there, and we'll have a closer look at the flaps without offensive noise. All the way down you can see no texture to it, no surface, just as you'd expect from what we've seen of this thing already. Almost looking like they're not attached there. Flaps up. Alright, so flight surfaces covered there. We're going to look at the inner systems next, and then after that we'll look at getting this thing in the air. Alright, so the engines are running, so we're going to have a quick look at the flight system. Now you can put in the flight plan either via the world map or directly into the FMS here, so I'm going to put it into the FMS, just a basic route from Cardiff to Manchester, so EGFF to EGCC. GCC. Okay, return to that then. You can enter this information if you've got it from a system like SimBrief, so for instance cost index normally around 15, something like that. Cruise altitude, let's do 190 and we'll just have a guess. Temperature of -35. That goes in nicely there. Okay, so the flight plan itself then, at the moment you can see it's in there with not much on it. Alright, it's the basic FMS provided by Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, not much change there. So hopefully we can get everything in that we need to. So yeah, clicking on here brings up the departures. And here we go, we do actually have the departures in here, which I was actually quite shocked to see that. So we'll go Brecon, 1 Bravo departure, and then insert. Let's just check that's gone in. Use the map. Yeah, that seems to have gone in, that's good. Okay, so it can fly departures, and that should mean it can fly arrivals as well then. So we'll go ILS 05 left, and we'll just guess it on the Dale 2 Alpha and insert that as it is. Let's just let's have a look at the map, make sure something's gone in there. Okay, yeah, a bit of a strange one, but it's in there, that's the main thing. One thing I have noticed is the little transponder here. I'm guessing this is the transponder. It's not active at all. I can't find anything else that should be a transponder, so unless I'm missing something, you cannot use a transponder on this aircraft, which means it would struggle on VATSIM, but never mind. Okay, the flight planning works, which is good, so it means it will follow a basic flight plan. I've had a little play about with the buttons here and switches. Some of them are a little bit sticky, a little bit strange because of the colour. No depth to that one black you can see, but there are different levels to these switches, so you do have to be careful. Okay, just before we taxi off then, I just wanted to show you the lights. So I've changed it to night time. I've put it real weather on as well because we couldn't see the lights in the day without it. But this is the nighttime view of the lights. As you can see, I've put them all on. So we've got the beacon top and bottom, landing lights left, right and centre, navigation lights on there on the side, red and green, port and starboard, and logo lights for the tail, as well as inspection lights for the wing there coming out the side. So the lights work, which is good. It's good to see lights on the aircraft. Some add-ons do come without functioning lights, so it's at least good to see that. Let's change it back to real time now, just to see in the day configuration. Obviously a little bit grey here, but the lights are quite cool. If I go to real time weather, if I turn off live weather, sorry, you almost completely lose the nav lights on the wings there. Beacon you can just about see, and the strobe's gone as well there. There's a comparison. And just draw attention to the actual strobe. It seems to be working in the reflection, but not from the front or rear. Oh, there we go. It is on the rear. Okay, it's on the rear of each side. That's okay. Just about. Alright, but that's the lights. Anyway, we'll turn off live weather. And what I am going to do is I'm just going to taxi out of here so you guys can see how this thing moves on the ground. Now you can see it's pretty sharp and responsive there. Rotate is left and right. Okay, so what's the verdict then of the Virtualcol E190 195? As I say, specifically this is the E195 model that we've been using today. It's cheap and cheerful. That's been the theme throughout this review and look. You know, I'd like to say you get what you pay for. This add-on is around £13 or $16. Okay, so as far as Microsoft Flight Sim add-ons go, it's on the cheap side. The model is okay, you know, it's quite pleasing to look at, especially from this distance. Obviously, the closer you get, the more things you look for, the more problems you will find. But that's the same with most add-ons. The systems are okay, you know, they work to the extent that you'd expect. You know, you can program them, you can fly a flight plan, and you can do that flight from start to finish, which is good. You can also make changes in the air with a few presses of the buttons, which is quite important to be able to do. Another point is it's the only E-Jet available in the sim, bar the 170, 175 by Virtualcol. You know, if you want an E-Jet that desperately, this is all you've got. So in that case, it's definitely worth it if you can't hang on for anything else. I wouldn't recommend it for use with VATSIM yet. Maybe a couple of updates time. There's a few tweaks that need to be made for it to be able to be flown on VATSIM successfully. Obviously it can be, but you probably come unstuck if you're flying to the bigger airports that require changes, regular changes to the flight plan and specific routes to be flown. This is not a high fidelity aircraft. That's what is important to remember. This is a cheap and cheerful add-on, as I said. It's definitely designed for fun in the sim, and it will do that. If you want to fly those fun flights, city hops and regional flights, then this is the aircraft for you. I myself certainly will fly a couple of flights with this thing. Hope to see some more updates. If they do that, then I could see myself using this more and more, because I do love the E-Jets, and I'd love to be able to fly them on VATSIM, but we'll see. So is this aircraft worth it for the sim? Well, that's entirely up to you, and hopefully now this review has allowed at least one person to decide whether they want to buy this aircraft or not. Remember, if you are going to buy it, it is available on flightsim.com for just over £13 or just over $16. I hope you guys have found this review useful and enjoyed watching the review of the Virtualcol 190 195. If you have done, please, as always, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.